I feel like I was really being creative with the title. Hair combed, face washed, body covered. Greetings and salutations. This is your girl, Outspoken Diva, and let's have a talk about it, shall we? I know y'all were like, wait a minute, wait, that's the answering questions intro. Yes, it is. But I talk about it is based on a question someone asked. So I'm gonna put the question up here. See the question. Give y'all a few minutes to read. And then, yeah, I answered it, but I also told them that I was going to do a talk about it for my full answer. So here it is. Okay, so yeah, um, the couple that is over Black Love. It was a TV show where they highlight different married couples of heterosexual and homosexual. I think everybody was cisgender. I don't remember. I don't remember seeing a transgender couple. So yeah. So everybody was cisgender, heterosexual, homosexual couples. It was on the OWN network for a few seasons. Um, and then there's the podcast Dear Future Wifey with Latarius Whitfield, and he does the same thing except he also has singles on, single people on, and they talk about their relationships. It's a man, Latarius Whitfield. He's divorced, but he's on the search for his future wifey. So yeah, yeah. So which do I prefer? Oh, and then Black Love has now turned into, of course, there's the website. They have other ventures with Black Love. So yeah. Uh, yes, I did not know until they said until JJ this 88, which is not JJ from the Never Ever Met videos. It's someone else I know. Um, they're a fan of JJ Watt. That's why they call themselves JJ. Anywho, I didn't see no, I didn't know about it until they said it, but I did take time. I mean, sometimes it's nothing on TV, so I took time to watch the interview. It was a very good interview. They talk about their love story, of course, how they met and all that kind of stuff. Some things in their marriages, why did they come up with Black Love, and then certain. They talk about one particular episode. That how they, it is pretty much really like how they met Latarius, those kind of things. So those things, and then yes, they do talk about their reactions and their feelings to people having such big opinions about them. Okay, there is a lot of chatter behind with both of those podcasts. I mean, both of those platforms. They're not, because one is not a podcast, one is. Both of those platforms, talking about how they highlight struggle love and those kind of things, and they talk about those, their feelings and things about that. I highly suggest that I'll put it down. That Black Love was on Dear Future Wifey, so yeah, that episode. So it is a very recent. It's the most recent episode. So I'll leave it down below, so those of you who are interested, watch watch that. So though we no, this night talk about it for the good, the bad, the diva of it all. I mean, I can't do that. So yeah, which would I prefer? Which do I prefer? It's gonna be Black Love, is because I watched all of Black Love when it was on TV. Okay, I watched every episode, and it was quite interesting. They have a 92% rate of couples that are still together. And those couple, though, I only really remember two couples that I know that are divorced now that were on Black Love. One of them was Beyonce's mom, Miss Tina, and her husband at the time, Richard Lawson. So she was at that time Tina Knowles Lawson. I think now she's just Tina Knowles. And Richard Lawson, man, I was sitting there, I remember watching their episode. I mean their episode, and I was like, why are they even together? Because they were like, you can have they was having a little spiff, getting a little spiffy with each other, a little snappy with each other on the episode, on their episode. So it was a little, So I was not shocked, but I mean to have all those couples, I mean they had it was seasons, like at least 4 to 5 plus seasons, and those many couples, and 92% rate of those still together. Hey, though, you can't beat those odds, okay? Um, but yeah, I was learning things with them. If it didn't teach me anything else, y'all heard me talk about the I don't believe in relationship goals or couples goals. That's I always felt that way, but that platform, that TV show taught me, yeah, because you don't know, you see all the glitz, the glamour, the things they go through, and it's not all celebrity couples that are on there. There are couples that are just black couples that are black. They just happen, both of them are black, and they talk about their love story, and their marriage story, their relationship story, and stuff, things of that nature. So yes, that is why I prefer Black Love. I took the time to watch all of it. Dear Future Wifey, I am not a major fan. I only watch when it's people that I am interested in. And here's the thing. Latarius is a little weird sometimes in his posture and his not questioning, just his stance and how he acts, or interacts with single women that he's attracted to. And I thought I was the only one seeing it until after the Essence Atkins interview, and he put the information out there about his attraction to her and their interaction and stuff. I was like, oh, okay. I'm not seeing stuff, but that doesn't mean, like I said, when I'm interested in who's on, because, I watch, like I said, I was interested in the Black Love couple, and, it was a good, but I don't watch all the time, okay? And, it's just not my platform. Now, as for both of them, highlighting struggle love, that's not, to me, I think that is people who want to chatter thing. People who want to rage against the machine, be outraged, be upset at all times. I'm sorry. Because both platforms have had also have couples on there that are not going through struggle love. And my thing is, all marriages and relationships and all of those kind of things go through some kind of struggle, whether you want, it all can't be roses and skips in the park all the time, okay? Now, do some of them go through some things that, you don't want to go through? Then that's you. But they have to show, I'm not going to say they have to. They choose to, and show realistic examples of people who stuck it through whatever, Now, I feel like Latarius does a disservice sometimes, keeping on people who don't always do the work, or not, at least not fully healed, have not done all the work. I'm sorry. If I was Latarius, this is me. Of course, he's done what he's gonna do, and he's successful at it. But me, I would have not ever shown the Steals episode, because at no point, when that woman said, when he asked, what's going to be women who say, well, you stuck through all of this, and she was like, well, that's why you're single. But then later on, when they were on, they ended up doing an after interview with Dr. Raquel Martin, and she says, that's why you're single. And then she doesn't even remember. She's, she tried to justify, like, no, I didn't mean it that way, even though everybody is, as my grandfather says, two people can't tell you the same lie. Okay? So, ma'am, you said it the way you said it. But then she also revealed that infidelity is not a deal breaker for her. See, at that point, I was like, okay, he should have never showed these people, because that should be a caveat to you. I mean, to what you're saying, especially as Christians, because I don't mean to be funny. Infidelity is adultery is a sin. It's in the Big Ten. It's part of the Ten Commandments. So that's not commit adultery. So yeah, if you telling me that's why you're married, that's why you're not married, and your husband sitting there saying because your standards are too high, and if my standards are too high because I want a man or I want a woman, if I was a man, I want you to not commit adultery, I want you to not be an infidel. I want you to be faithful and not cheat. If that's my standard and that's too high, okay, I would have never showed them. But then also there's one that y'all rage against the machine, and I understand when people rage against the machine. I understand. I just don't understand why y'all don't cheer on the couples that are doing good, or y'all don't cheer when he has single people on. Which to me, I think a lot of times the single people that Latarius has on his show do more work and are a little bit more healed than some of these that he has had on. But that's just my opinion. But when he had a panel at a church, and Pastor John Gray was on, and this is after everything that has happened with John Gray. Was not physically stepping out of his marriage. He didn't do anything physical, but there was emotional and mental infidelity or adultery going on. And that's what he was saying. I never stepped out physically. And then I was like, okay, yeah, okay. But then, and he was like, this is the only woman I've ever been with. I've been inside or whatever he had said. Okay. That still didn't bother me. It wasn't until he said, and I wasn't the only one. Now, see, to me, healed people who are truly remorse, people who are trying to advise me on anything or advise anybody on anything, you don't need to bring up anybody else. Not in my opinion. Okay? You need to say, I'm not the only one. We know you're not the only one. We can... Me and him could stand there and name them off, and we both be learning something about the other pastors, okay? And I just felt like y'all was supposed to be championing and talking about marriage, especially in healthy ways, and then you bring this up, We want to understand that yes, to get to healthy, you have to go through some unhealthy moments, but we want to have the most healthiest relationships on panels to talk about this. And if somebody is still not as healthy to the point because to me, in my opinion, anyone who is unhealthy would still be saying, oh, I'm not the only one that's doing this. Healthy people don't have to throw nobody, don't have to bring up anything, don't have to pass the buck or anything, okay? That's just me. And this is one of the reasons why I don't particularly care for Dear Future Wifey like I did for Black Love. Nowhere on Black Love did I ever see anybody say, I'm struggling with trying to understand literacy in my literacy as a married man like Flex did. He did not go over there and talk about Warren Campbell, what he did back in his relationship. No, him and Erica Campbell's earlier, he cheated on her, and they had to figure it out and all that kind of stuff. Nowhere did Flex bring up Warren Campbell. Warren Campbell didn't bring up, somebody else, okay? I mean, I'm just bringing those up because those are names that we know. I'm talking about Flex Alexander, who's married to the singer Shanice. These are people that we know. Okay, that's the only reason. But healthy relationships. Yes, you go through things, but But this is why I prefer Black Love as opposed to Dear Future Wifey. In my opinion, that's my thing. Will I not watch? I still, like I said, I watched it for these people. Like I said, when I see someone that I'm interested on, like I said, I think I've said this on a previous. No, I think I've made this and then I scrapped it for because it was behind something else. But one of the cast of Later Daters, Miss Lori, was on. I watched that, loved it. Loved the episode. When Just Witty, the lady whose wig fell off, and it went viral. She got married. I watched when her and her husband, came on to announce that, yeah, I'm married, that kind of stuff. I will watch, like I said, when I see people on, but like to always watch, maybe because I've gone through Black Love and some of these people actually, you still know, like Kevin and Melissa Fredericks. I've already, watched their love story, and it's other people that have been on that I've watched their story. So, just depend on, and then also, I'm in a different place in my life, so I don't have time to be sitting around watching it, like I used to with Black Love. So, okay, so yeah, that is my answer, and like I said, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna want you to answer if you can. Which platform do you prefer? Do you prefer Black Love or Dear Future Wifey? Because some of y'all may not particularly care for Black Love. I never know. We're gonna be respectful in the comments and those kind of things, and yeah, that's what I want you to do. You can answer that down below in the comments of this video on the social media site that you see this on, except Facebook. You leave yours down below. And you can always shoot me an email at the email address that's in the description box. Okay. And other than that, love, a word that comes and goes, but few people really know what it means to love. So yeah, thank you to the bard Kirk Franklin for that. Okay. And other than that, talking to you in adult terms.